Welcome back to the BD Daily Tech News Podcast, where you get daily insights on technology and innovation. It's 2025, November 26th, and I'm your host, here to walk you through the biggest tech shifts shaping your day.
And I'm your guest. Today, we're diving into AI-powered shopping, new safeguards for teens using chatbots, a killer Black Friday VR deal, and Uber's fully driverless robotaxis in Abu Dhabi. A lot of AI, a lot of automation, and some real-world stakes.
Let's start with AI shopping. OpenAI and Perplexity are both rolling out AI shopping assistants, but TechCrunch reports that founders building vertical AI shopping tools aren't exactly panicking. Their argument is simple. General-purpose models are too broad to deliver truly personalized shopping experiences.
Right. And one of the clearest examples is Aunton, a startup that just raised $7.5 million to expand its AI-powered shopping site beyond furniture. They give users what they call an infinite canvas plus AI image generation, so you can visualize a room, tweak layouts, and then buy, all in one flow. That's a very different experience from just asking a chatbot, "What couch should I buy?"
Exactly. Aunton, which recently rebranded from Deft, is betting on context. Instead of a single chat box, you get a visual workspace that remembers where your window is, what color your walls are, and what pieces you've already liked. That's the kind of domain-specific memory and UI that a general chatbot doesn't naturally have.
And there's a business model angle too. These niche tools are built from day one around conversion and higher basket sizes. If you're Aunton, you're optimizing for how many people actually click buy after playing with that infinite canvas. A general assistant like ChatGPT might recommend products, but it's not tightly wired into inventory, margins, or logistics for a specific vertical.
Startup founders quoted in the TechCrunch piece basically say, let the big models handle generic questions. We'll own the last mile of decision-making. They're even skeptical that OpenAI or Perplexity will want to do the unglamorous work of integrating with hundreds of retailers, managing returns flows, and tuning recommendations for, say, furniture versus cosmetics.
And there's also trust and taste. A lot of vertical players see themselves as curators. They're training models on carefully selected catalogs and style rules, not the entire internet. If you're buying a sofa or redesigning a kitchen, you might prefer a tool that has a clear design point of view rather than a model that's just statistically good at language.
So the emerging pattern is foundation models at the base, but specialized UX, data, and business logic on top. Aunton is a concrete case of that stack. They're not trying to beat OpenAI at raw model performance. They're trying to wrap that power in a shopping journey that feels like a high-end showroom, not a search box.
If you're listening and building in e-commerce, the takeaway is you probably don't want to compete at the model layer. Instead, think about owning your vertical's data, workflows, and design language. That's where these startups believe the defensibility really is, even as giants like OpenAI and Perplexity enter the shopping space.
We'll circle back to this in the recap because it ties directly into how AI is being constrained and structured in other domains, like teen safety. Let's pivot there next.
Character.AI is making a big move. After months of scrutiny and several lawsuits over alleged impacts on teen mental health, the company is banning under 18 users from its open-ended chatbots and rolling out a new mode called Stories, specifically for teens.
Stories is essentially a structured, choose-your-own-adventure format. Teens pick 2 or 3 characters, choose a genre, then either write a premise or let the system auto-generate one. From there, the AI guides a branching narrative, and the user makes frequent choices to steer the plot, rather than having an unconstrained back-and-forth chat.
That structure matters because it gives Character.AI more control over what the AI can and can't say. In OpenChat, you can drift into anything: mental health, self-harm, explicit content. In a visual, narrative-first experience with predefined branches, it's much easier to enforce safety rails and age-appropriate themes.
They're pairing this with an age check tool to gate access. The timing isn't random. Regulators have been pushing AI companies to add more robust safeguards for minors. And Character.AI is also facing a wrongful death lawsuit in Florida, where a teen reportedly discussed suicidal thoughts with a bot that did not route her to any help or authorities.
The lawsuits raise a tough question. If an AI system is designed to simulate empathy, does it also inherit some duty of care? Character.AI's answer, at least for now, is to avoid that boundary with minors altogether. No more open-ended emotional conversations for teens, only guided experiences with limited scope.
From a product design perspective, this is similar to what we just discussed in shopping. You're trading flexibility for structure. Instead of a wide-open interface that can go anywhere, you get a constrained environment tuned for a specific outcome. In this case, entertainment that stays within safety guardrails.
And there's a replay value angle built in. Because stories branch, teens can replay the same setup and get different outcomes by making new choices. It's closer to an interactive visual novel than a chat app. That might also make it easier for parents to understand what their kids are doing with the AI. They're playing a game, not forming a pseudo-relationship with a chatbot.
If you're a developer, this is a signal that regulators, courts, and platforms are going to push hard for structured, auditable AI experiences for minors. Open text boxes with no hard boundaries are increasingly seen as a risk surface, not a feature, when kids are involved.
And for families listening, the practical takeaway is to treat AI services like any other online platform. Check whether they have teen-specific modes, age checks, and clear policies. Character.AI Stories is one example of the industry moving in that direction, but it's on you to decide what's appropriate in your home.
Let's shift from safety to gear. If you've been VR curious, Meta's entry-level Quest 3S headset just hit an all-time low price for Black Friday. The 128GB model is down from $300 to about $250, and Amazon is bundling the game Gorilla Tag for free.
Engadget gave the Quest 3S a score of 90 and called it one of the best standalone VR headsets you can buy at this price. You get around 2+ hours of battery life, a 96-degree field of view, and per-eye resolution of 1,830 by 1,900 pixels. It's not as sharp as the standard Quest 3, but it uses the same Qualcomm Snapdragon XR2 Gen 2 chip and 8 GB of RAM, so performance is surprisingly snappy.
Hardware-wise, the 3S is designed to be comfortable and accessible. It ships with Meta's Touch Plus controllers, which give you analog sticks, buttons, and motion tracking. You can also connect it to a gaming PC for more demanding titles, and cast gameplay to Chromecast or AirPlay devices so friends can watch on a TV.
The trade-offs versus the full Quest 3 are mostly about display quality and some premium features. You won't get the same peak sharpness or some of the more advanced mixed reality tricks, but at this price, it's aimed squarely at first-time buyers and families who want a solid VR experience without spending $500 or more.
And this is where the broader theme comes back. Consumer tech is getting cheaper and more capable at the same time that AI is reshaping the software layer. A $250 headset that runs modern XR2 Gen 2 silicon and ties into a huge content ecosystem would have sounded optimistic a few years ago.
If you're on the fence, my quick rule of thumb: if you want to casually explore VR fitness, social apps, and games like Gorilla Tag or Beat Saber, the Quest 3S at this price is hard to beat. If you're a graphics purist or you care a lot about mixed reality pass-through quality, you may still want to stretch to the higher-end models.
From virtual worlds to real streets, Uber and Chinese autonomous driving company WeRide just flipped the switch on fully driverless robotaxis in Abu Dhabi. If you request an Uber X or Uber Comfort in certain parts of the city, you may now be matched with a vehicle that has no human driver at all.
The rollout is starting on Yas Island, a roughly 12-square-mile tourist district that's relatively controlled and predictable. The vehicles are WeRide's 5-seat GXR model, based on Geely's Farazon Supervan platform, outfitted with more than 20 sensors and cameras for 360-degree perception.
Uber first launched this service with safety drivers back in 2024, but now the human backup is gone for the designated routes. What's interesting is the division of labor. Uber handles the consumer-facing app and, in Abu Dhabi, even fleet operations like maintenance and charging in collaboration with local taxi company Tawasul Transport, while WeRide supplies the autonomous stack and vehicles.
And this is part of a bigger pattern. Uber is partnering with different robotaxi players in different regions. Waymo in Atlanta, Baidu in parts of Asia and the Middle East, Momenta in Europe, and now WeRide in the United Arab Emirates. The company has said it aims to expand these autonomous services to 15 additional cities over the next few years.
For riders, the experience is designed to feel familiar. You open the same Uber app, choose Uber X or Uber Comfort, and if your origin and destination are inside the service area, you may see an option labeled Autonomous. It's an incremental way to normalize fully driverless rides without forcing people into a separate experimental app.
The big question is how quickly regulators and the public will accept these services at scale. We've seen pilot programs in places like Phoenix and San Francisco, but Abu Dhabi's Yas Island deployment shows how tourist districts and special zones can act as stepping stones, where traffic patterns are simpler and infrastructure can be tuned for autonomy.
If you're in urban planning or mobility, this is another data point that the future of ride-hailing is likely a hybrid. Human drivers in complex or low-density areas, and fleets of autonomous vehicles in high-demand, well-mapped corridors. The partnerships Uber is building now are about being ready for that mix.
Let's tie everything together. Today, we saw AI getting more specialized and more constrained at the same time. Antin and other vertical players are using AI to build deeply contextual shopping experiences. Character.AI is narrowing what teens can do with AI, moving from open-ended chats to guided stories. Meta is pushing capable VR hardware like the Quest 3S into mainstream price points. And Uber and WeRide are taking autonomy from pilot to truly driverless service on Yas Island.
Across all of those, the through line is this. AI and automation are moving closer to the transaction and closer to the street, but with more structure, more guardrails, and more partnerships. If you build or buy tech, the key questions are where you want flexibility and where you need constraints.
If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you follow the BD Daily Tech News podcast so you don't miss tomorrow's episode. Drop us a comment with the AI or gadget story you want us to unpack next, and tell us if you'd actually ride in a fully driverless Uber on your next trip.
You've been listening to BD Daily Tech News Podcast, bringing you daily insights on technology and innovation. For 2025, November 26th, that's it from us. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll be back in your feed with more tech news tomorrow.